Have you ever wondered if a certain Kamen Rider season is for you? Well, you just found the series for your problem. This is Kamen Rider Should You Watch, the series where I tell you all the basic information about a Kamen Rider series so you can decide if a certain season is right for you. This episode I'll be giving you all the necessary information about Kamen Rider Build, the 19th season of the Heisei era of Kamen Rider, with 49 episodes, 5 movies, and 6 specials. I know that sounds like a lot, but luckily you only really need to watch Kamen Rider Build within itself. Speaking of, let's get into the plot summary of Kamen Rider Build to see if the series catches your interest. Kamen Rider Build is the story of Sento Kiryu, genius physicist and Kamen Rider Build. Sento became Kamen Rider Build because, well, you see, he doesn't actually know. He has amnesia. What he and everyone does know, though, is about the Sky Wall. The Sky Wall being a giant wall that split Japan into 3 separate countries 10 years ago after a Martian relic called Pandora's Box was brought back to Earth. Nowadays, the 3 countries live in a tentative peace, with Sento living in the country of Toto. But that's all backstory. Build actually begins when one day a murderer named Manager Ryuga escapes prison. Ryuga eventually meets Sento, with Ryuga claiming he didn't kill anyone. Sento, believing him, takes Ryuga in to live at the cafe he has been staying at since he got his amnesia. Past that? Well, you have to watch the series to find out. Anything past that would be spoilers. Though, I guess I should warn you, Build is a relatively serious season, with a rank on our tone meter of a 2 out of 5. Not empty of its fun moments, though the story can spend long periods tackling heavy themes. Themes of scientific morality, war, grief, and political turmoil. But does it handle these themes well? Let's get into the reception of the series by the Kamen Rider fanbase to find out. By the way, remember, these are not my opinions on the series. I'm just summing up the most common opinions I see. Like last episode, it's best to divide Kamen Rider Build up to explain its reception, but I find it best to, instead of dividing it by arcs, to instead divide Build into 2 halves in terms of reception. The first half of the series consisting of the first 22 episodes of the series, with the second half consisting of the latter 27. With, depending on what fan you ask, these 2 halves can have radically different reception, with the first half of the series being well loved throughout the Kamen Rider fanbase for its solid mystery storytelling, its engaging episodes, and its original ideas. Meanwhile, Build's second half can be best summed up as divisive, with some saying that it holds up the same engaging storytelling and likable characters as the first half, while others would argue that Build's second half not only becomes formulaic, but also disliking choices they see as making the characters more one-dimensional or comedic. Obviously, there's no way to tell how you'd feel until you watch the show. Your opinion might be different from the norm, but I do think it's important that you know that beforehand. But if you are not a big fan of hearing the common opinion, here's a quick clip from my friend who is a big fan of Kamen Rider Build, the Happy Amumu.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm the Happy Amumu. Personally, Build is my favorite series, and I love Kamen Rider, but Build is just so great with the characters. I love the story, and in general, the powers are really cool. That being said, it does have some slight drawbacks, but other than that, I really do like the series, and I overall think it's a great series. Well, that was my voice. Goodbye.
Luckily, if you end up enjoying Kamen Rider Build as much as Mumu, you won't be short on content. Like both crossovers, including Build, those being Kamen Rider X8 and Build Heisei Generations Final, and the Kamen Rider Build and Geo Heisei Generations Forever. There's also a movie for the series that is standalone called Be the One. On top of all of that, there are also 2 V-cinemas that can be watched post-season, along with a myriad of other content that you can also count as Build content. Also, there's a stage show. Finally, let's move on to the designs. I actually find this to be the hardest thing to talk about in this informational video, mainly because the best way I can describe the Kamen Rider Build designs is that they are mainly based on the driver and bottle used, the bottles being the main gimmick of the season, with Kamen Rider Build suit mainly being based around 2 themes coming together, mainly being those of nature and synthetic items, with Build's base form being the best example of this, being his base form of Rabbit Tank. Although this theme isn't always obvious, like Build's ninja comic form. While following the theme, it definitely stretches the limit of what actually fits in that base theme. although Build is the only rider to follow the 2-in-1 format of suit design, with the secondary rider of the season, Cross, while still keeping the mechanical or scientific look of Build's forms, Cross instead wears his full bottle, more like armor over him. I guess the best way to describe Build's aesthetic is one of science mixed with armor, with usually any suit referencing a specific science in its theming. But that's about it for the information you should know before starting Kamen Rider Build. Hopefully this information helps you make your decision on if you want to watch the season. If you want to find out more about other Kamen Rider series, then check out the playlist in the upper right hand corner to see if I've covered it yet on Kamen Rider Should You Watch. And if I haven't, then just leave a comment down below and I'll put it on the queue for series to cover. Finally, thanks to Happy and Mumu for sharing his recommendation for Kamen Rider Build. Check out his channel on screen now. With everything now wrapped up, I ask you to please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And that's all for now. See you guys next time. Bye.